A very good morning to you. Welcome to another edition of our newspaper review right here on Idea TV. It's always a pleasure to bring you up to speed with all the happenings right here in Nigeria and, of course, across Nigeria. So we're starting this morning with Daily Trust, where we see why Tinubu returned General Musa. A lot is going on around the Ministry of Defense, and we're seeing the story being on the front page of Daily Trust newspaper. And we still see OPE clinches Sarah's social impact and human capacity development award still on the front pages of Daily Trust newspaper this morning. And we're also seeing fire kills family of 5 in Katsina. That's a very sad one. You can find that story on page 6 of Daily Trust. And we also see constitution amendments, reps to vote on state creation and orders on December 10th. Okay, interesting times ahead. Press freedom, IPI list IGP and 2 governors in book of infamy. You can find that story on page 24 of Daily Trust. And we see FCT Community School where only 17 out of 136 pupils attend classes. Wow. Right here in this FCT. That story is on page 16 of Daily Trust. I think that's all we have on Daily Trust this morning. So let's quickly go over to New Telegraph, where we see insecurity will reclaim ungoverned spaces from non-state actors. The president vows, and you'll find that on page 3 and 29. The president has said that we will reclaim ungoverned spaces from non-state actors. Tinubu vows, and I'm sure that's what every ordinary Nigerian is looking forward to. Okay, about time. We also see MRO, FG, Boeing sign aircraft maintenance deal to earn $200 million capital flight. And still, that story is on page 8 and still on the front pages of the New Telegraph. We see CBN halt exemption of embassies, donor agencies from specific cash policies. We see expulsion, PDP to place disclaimers on Wike, Fayose, Ayahu, Bature and others. That story is on page 2, 4 and 6. Politics, politics, politics. Okay, and we see FG moves to extend social protection to 60 million informal workers. Okay, page 4 has that story. And 2027, we see no time to waste on a rescue mission, says Atiku. Page 5. I know a lot of people will be wondering, is Atiku getting ready to contest again? Well, you see, he has said no time to waste time. And 2027, he calls it the year of rescuing Nigeria. Well, let's see how that turns out. And with that, I think we can go on to the next newspaper, which is The Guardian this morning. And on The Guardian, we see Mba presents 1.62 trillion budget and lauds President Tinubu's economic policies. You'd find that story on the front pages of The Guardian newspaper. And we also see chaotic Unitide travels loom as 15 airline faces 65% capacity dip. That story is on page 6. It's about to be dirty December, and you know how it gets here in Nigeria during the Christmas season. Well, that story is on page 6 of The Guardian. And we also see PDP deepens purge, issues expulsion certificates to Wike, Fayose, Ayahu and others. Oh, okay. You find that on news page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. And we see Tinubu meets security chiefs and nominates ex-CDS Musa as defense minister. Okay, contractors protest disrupt ministry's activities over 760 million debt. That story is on business page 19 of The Guardian newspaper this morning. Diplomacy, development and defense don't compete. They complement one another. That is from General Olufemi Oluyede, who is Chief of Defense Staff. Okay, I think that's all we have on The Guardian this morning. So let's quickly go on to the Punch papers. And on the Punch, we see that U.S. lawmakers and Nigerian reps to hold fresh sessions over rising insecurity. You can already see that things don't seem to be getting better. It's like every day there's another story about insecurity, about banditry in Nigeria. And so it's about time that we have that meeting. So U.S. lawmakers and Nigerian reps are holding a fresh session over the rising insecurity issues in Nigeria. And that story is on page 2 of the papers. We also see on the Punch that PDP crisis, Makinde block issues Wike and others expulsion certificate. So there's a block apparently in PDP. That's what this news is alleging. Okay. We can also see U.S. Congress, okay, we've taken that. UBA Group ushers in newly tied lights up Marina, Lagos. Trees lightning the other, it was just last week, I think there was tree lightning in Calabar. Tree lighting in Calabar, and now we're also seeing UBA doing the same. So that just tells you that we are in the spirit of the holiday season. We can see marital dispute. Edo Assembly summons two Baba's wife. That's Natasha. Okay. Local flights break 300,000 mark, page 9. And I'm just wondering, 300,000. Some people don't even earn up to that, and that's a mark that a local flight is breaking. We're yet to know if it is a one-way or, both return and a round trip. But you can find out more on page 9 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And still on the Punch, we see Adeleke slams Osun PDP primary as Adebayo wins tickets. That story is found on page 2 of the Punch papers. You can also see FG contractors launch fresh protest over 500 billion debt. Okay, that story is on page 24 of the Punch newspaper this morning. There's a whole lot happening. There's a whole lot. Emotionally, mentally, security-wise, there's just a whole lot happening right here on the Punch. And do yourself well to grab and read. But with that, I think we can go on to Vanguard newspaper. Now on Vanguard, we see U.S. lawmaker disagree with FG. U.S. lawmakers disagree with the federal government over alleged Christian genocide. That story is on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper, and we still see OPE clinching award, social impact and human capacity development award, and that story is on page 27 of the Vanguard papers. We see fast track field development or step aside. FG is warning LOCs. Okay, who are these LOCs? Find out more on page 19 of the Vanguard papers. APC and FG suffocating PDP opposition. That's PDP as opposition right now is saying that APC and federal government are suffocating PDP, and those are the words of Bode George, and you can find out more on page 10 of the Vanguard papers. MBA presents record 1.62 trillion Naira 2026 budget of renewed momentum. MBA is the governor of Enugu State. Peter MBA, he's the governor of Enugu State, and that's the budget he is. It's raised a lot of questions, and people are saying, okay, but he's calling this budget a renewed momentum budget. Well, let's see. Still on the Vanguard this morning, we see 6 steps taken so far by FG to deal with the problem insufficient. Okay, that's on page 5. That's on page 5. We can see Mark Owie Odige and Onyegun and others want South people's support for ADC. Election is almost here, and you can already talk about all the factions and all the politicking and all the clamoring for power. Well, at the end of the day, may the best elector, may the best man win, I guess. So we also see gunmen kidnap 5 Rivers varsity students, 14 passengers in Imo. We just spoke about the level of insecurity. It feels like it's getting worse by today. Gunmen kidnapping 5 in Rivers University students and 14 passengers in Imo. So 14 in Imo, 5 students. You can see. I can't wait for the nomination to be confirmed or not, so we just know who is the next Minister of Defense. At least things get into perspective once and for all. Police launch manhunt for abductors and arrest killers of five policemen in Bauchi. Even the policemen are not safe. The security agents are also being kidnapped. 5 have been kidnapped in Bauchi. Not just kidnapped, they were killed in Bauchi. You can find more of that story on page 16 of the Vanguard newspapers this morning. But after that, let's quickly now go to the Nation newspaper, where we see Credit Corp deploys 30 billion in consumer credit. That story is on news page 6 or 5 of the Nation paper. Adeleke set for accord as chaos rocks PDP primary. That's on page 6. How true is that? Well, you cannot tell until you go read. Mokri's ambassadorial nomination gets full backing. Page 5. How so? There's been a lot of talks across social media of people questioning, is Rino Mokri, really a true ambassador of Nigeria? Well, we can find out on after we read that on page 5 of the Nation. Igbinedion held First Lady's support on reserved seats for women. Page 26 of the papers. You must give us better results. President tells service chiefs about time. Again, about time. We see experts set agenda for defense minister's nominee. General Musa, ex-CDS, is now facing Senate screening. Okay. We now see... Let's now move on to Nigerian Tribune quickly. And on Nigerian Tribune, we see that reps begin debates on state policing and other constitution review bills today. We've had several talks about why we need state policing, and I think the House of Reps have finally agreed on having this all-important conversation today. So let us see what the decision is going to be, how it's going to turn out. But for whatever reason, I hope that security of lives and property of Nigerians is top on the agenda, and that comes out to play, because right now we need that security more than ever. And we see experts set agenda for Defense Minister nominee General Musa while he's still facing screening. U.S. lawmakers still on the Tribune newspaper. We see to vote on bills on next Tuesday, Wednesday before transmission to state assemblies, page 3. So whatever decisions the House of Reps decide on will be from next Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll know where we stand as a nation. Drama as Goje falls on parliamentary conduct of Akpabio and colleagues. Page 4. What happened? Well, page 4 will tell you. Press freedom, IPI blacklist IGP and 2 governors and honors DG and DGDSS, page 8. Health, beer belly linked to heart damage in men. Study has shown that beer belly leads to heart damage in men. That's a study that you can find out on page 2. So beer belly is when your stomach is protruding because you take a lot of beer. You know, people who drink a lot of beer, they have bigger stomach for men, and a study is saying it's linked to heart damage. You want to find out more, especially as the Yuletide is fast approaching holiday season, so you want to read more and know where you stand as a person. Health is wealth, they say. Adeleke's new party to be known before December 13. Adebayo energies PDP candidates. What is happening in Osun State? Okay, find out on page 2. ASU and FG reach agreement on 40% rise and autonomy funding. Story of ASU and FG keeps getting to me every now and then, and you just keep wondering, when will they finally agree? When will they finally agree? Well, that story is on page 16 of the Nigerian Tribune papers, and I think that's all that we have on the newspapers this morning. Whatever story spoke to you, please do well to comment across the different social media platforms and let us know, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to analyze any of the papers? We would like to have you join us in the studio to have this very important conversation, because it is your conversation as much as it is ours. So do well to, follow us up and share your thoughts, share your perspective. Let us grow Africa together. And of course, I just like to remind you again that our Idea Entertainers and Artists of Interest Bulletin is out. So do well to download for free on our website www.ideatv.live, and it's for free, absolutely free. A lot of work went into this, so we'll appreciate that you download it and spread the word. There's also a mini documentary, I like to describe it as that, on our YouTube page as well. So do well to download, do well to watch and spread the word. This is the first edition of the Idea Artists and Entertainers of Interest. So do well to, keep it locked and stay connected to it. But by 9 o'clock, it'll be time for us to have the Idea Morning Digest, and you'll be seeing me again there. So stay locked. My name is Chinatu Oji, and see you by 9.